of an animal that has multiple ovulations per cycle, like, you're gonna have many kids in a litter, so to speak, because then you can see a lot more action on these than if you were looking at a human. So when you look, I'm covered with a whole lot of stuff. Yeah. Pollard. There we go. It's on glass. Oh, that black thing in the middle, I cannot figure out how to get that out. I've tried to swab with a Q-tip various parts of the optics, but I've yet to be able to find. So we're gonna have to put up with that black thing in the middle, sorry. But if we work around it, yeah. If you look around, see the way a typical ovary looks? You just have tons and tons of follicles all over the place. We're going to start with primordial. And you can start to see some primordials up here. All along there, you can see all sorts of little primordial follicles right along the edge of the ovary. So here they are out here. We can go a little bit closer even. Oh, I went the wrong way. Closer. There we go. There we go. So here's what some primordial follicles look like. There's not much to them. Again, you see the oocyte, you see the nucleus of the oocyte, and you see just a few squamous-y looking cells surrounding it. That's it. That's a primordial follicle right there. And again, they're in clusters. So if you see one that looks like many others all grouped together, you notice that we're on maximum magnification. Those are your clues. You're looking at the primordial follicles. If we point it here and say, what's the specific cell? Say oocyte. But we said, what is the structure that includes not only what the pointer is touching, but the cells that are surrounding it? What's that overall structure? Primordial follicle. Or we could kind of phrase it, name the stage of follicular development. That's a hint, if you've ever heard one, right? Oh, I must be looking at ovary. Primordial. So there's several different ways we'll kind of get at how to ask the question. So those are primordial follicles. For primary, we happen to have a primary kind of nearby here. This is a primary. Notice the oocyte's larger, and now you've got kind of a distinct layer of more of a cuboidal cells. Let me zoom back in so we can see the details better. Where was that guy? There. Now this is not the best primary follicle ever because you don't see the nucleus of the oocyte, and the oocyte doesn't have a really crisp order to it, but you can definitely see the cuboidal cells. So these are granulosa cells. And then notice just outside you have all these kind of random cells. Those are going to be fecal cells. So we can put the pointer there, put the pointer there for fecal cells versus granulosa cells, or here for the oocyte. Let's look around. Let's see if we can find a better primary. That's not very clear. Let's go back to low pow. See what we can find. Now, you can already kind of hint ahead at where we're going. Once you start seeing an antrum that's getting into secondary, and once you have a huge antrum that dominates, you're into a tertiary, that's probably a primary follicle, although again, it doesn't look like a very pretty one. That's probably one. That's probably one. That one, it's kind of hard to tell if an antrum's starting with that one or not. Let's see if there's any other beauties. This one's kind of probably primary, but maybe just a little bit of an antrim starting, so maybe very early secondary. There we go, that's pretty good. Primary right there. But you get the idea, right? So if it's a little bit bigger but no antrim yet, primary. There's a beautiful secondary. There's a beautiful secondary, distinct antrims. And here, this one right here, is a classic tertiary. Notice that the antrim dominates. The antrim takes up most of the volume. The oocyte has definitely kind of picked a side to go along with. You can see a distinctive corona radiata, those granulosa cells there around it. So that would be a textbook tertiary follicle right there, next to a secondary right there. So questions about finding the different types of follicles?
Are all these going to be like aimed for high to low power, like a range, or?
Well, for the tertiary